Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Global Legal Tech Hub Day. I'm super happy to be moderating this panel, this amazing panel of professionals from legal tech in Latam. My name is Ezequiel Braun. I'm the founder of CEO of Brevity, a legal tech company in Argentina. But I don't want to talk about me. Our panelists are amazing, and so I will present them right away. First and foremost, we have Karina Rasic. She is from Argentina, but is joining us from France. Hi, Karina. How are you?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to this great table today. It's nice to meet you, everybody, and to share this table.
So I'm really excited about everything you bring to the table, Karina. You're the CFO and co-founder of Legalify, the Uber of Latam, of lawyers everywhere, actually. And an investment advisor, an angel investor, a Latitude fellow. I can't wait to see everything you bring to the table. So thank you for being here.
Thank you,
Andrés Jara, he's joining us from Chile. Andrés is a true pioneer in Latam. He was talking about legal operations and ALSAPs, and before even everybody knew about those terms, not only Latam, but everywhere. You're a true pioneer, the CEO and founder of Alster, a legal ALSAP provider in Latam, of Kia Technologies. Thank you, Andrés, for being here, and welcome.
Ezequiel, thanks again for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here and to share with the other panelists, and also happy to contribute to Global Legal Tech Hub. I'm an advisor this year to the hub, so happy to be here and support the initiatives of the hub.
Thank you, Andrés, and let's move to presenting Carolina. Hi, Carolina. Carolina de la Guardia. She's a lawyer joining us from Panama. Actually, she's joining us from the mountaintops of Panama. Thank you for being here, Carolina. Carolina, you're a founding member of Veló Abogados, a new law firm, and service provider. So I'm really excited of everything you can bring to the table.
Thank you, Ezequiel. Hello, everyone. Really excited to be here sharing this amazing panel. Looking forward to our discussion.
And last but not least, Pablo Balancini from Argentina as well. Pablo, welcome to this table. Super happy you're here. I always say you are like a rocket scientist among our software developers. So I can't wait to hear your intakes on what's going on in Latam in Legaltech.
Thank you, Ezequiel. Thank you, Legaltech Hub, to allow me to be part of this great panel.
So just to clarify, so he said Legal Hub because he's actually the founder and CEO of Legal Hub. His company is called Legal
It triggered me some
so just for to avoid confusions. But let's jump right into the table and our first question of the day. Karina, you are very much in touch with founders and investors and funds and the fellowship we share in Latitude. How do you see investment trends in legal tech? You're muted, Karina.
Actually, legal tech is going to be more important in the future than fintech. The tendency is that the vertical of legal tech is going to be founded much more than fintech because people need to have access to justice. For example, in the United States, and in Latam is worse, 95% of Americans cannot access to basic legal services. So if we project that into Latin America, it's worse. So basically, very few people have access to legal services, basic legal services. And so the tendency, there is a big market there. So the tendency is huge. There is a lot of potential in legal tech.
Thank you, Karina. Well, we have that headline for the papers tomorrow. legal tech is going to be larger than fintech. I love what you say and what you do in Legalify, because you're trying to make a dent in and a difference in a very specific matter, and this is a B2C company really striving to help those people without access to justice. I always think that rule of law and justice are the bedrocks of any society. So to have so many people outside that, it's heartbreaking. But B2C is a very difficult market for for lawyers and legal techs. I really wish Legalify grows and keeps growing at a pace like it's doing. How do you see the difference between B2C and B2B nowadays in trends, in investment trends?
Well, we have to mix B2C with B2B also, because B2C only is not something that will grow quickly. People and lawyers basically are late adopters of B2C platforms like ours. So we usually do a mix of B2B and B2C to be able to grow efficiently, and this is working because people in companies, for example, need to access justice as well as anybody. So we are selling services to companies with great success, with great acceptance. It's a sort of well-being that we are giving. We are trying people not to be complicated with legal issues in their personal lives and work and be more productive by contacting a lawyer. The way
That's
to be, yes, the way to be more productive at work is, for example, if you're getting a divorce, uh, being able to get in touch with a lawyer and try to solve this issue with a lawyer, and not be all the time thinking how I'm going to do to get a divorce, for example, or any other issue. So there is a mixture there, but B2C
it's
is
more
difficult.
B2B to C maybe.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, like if your company provides you legal services for solving your personal matters, yeah, you will love that company. Um, Probably. So,
Yes.
and I think it's super important that we have um, that this trend in terms of investment in legal tech keeps growing on a personal, not on a personal note, but I always want to point out like these big successes in IPOs or sell or transfers and M&As. I think those will help the market as well. Um, we saw recently Thomson Reuters acquiring a company for $630 million. That permeates everything down. We are going to start seeing those uh, more and more, and I think that that tendency will grow. And
Yes.
I think it's super important to have those investment in legal tech because technology is a great ally in everywhere to increase productivity. And I think we need to increase productivity exponentially, not only in B2C but B2C, B2B as well. And as someone who has been improving efficiency for and productivity for lawyers for a long time, Andres, why do you see this is becoming more important as ever?
Yeah, two comments on that. First, I believe that productivity is a matter to take care in consideration for the discussion. But just an insight on investment in legal tech. Actually, the formal data today is that after 2022 and actually during 2023, the investment in legal tech dropped almost 70%. 70%. So, but that's a common behavior if you see the context of how it's behaving the market in venture capital anyway, right? So it's nothing to really worry about, but we need to understand that certainly the levels of investments that are needed for this kind of market and to grow this current market are today much more lower than the ones we were watching last years, right? So, but taking the question regarding productivity, it's interesting. It's interesting the matter of productivity due to the fact that usually productivity is something that many people talks about, but nobody knows how it works. And I'm trying to understand this from different perspectives, but this is one takeaway I believe it's interesting for the audience. The takeaway is the following, or the insight is the following. If we measure productivity as time spent on producing a final outcome, probably we are going to understand that lawyers are bad on productivity or understanding productivity. And moreover, I would say that lawyers usually leverage on that inefficiency to monetize their business model. And that's not an idea that I came up in the last days, but rather it's something that was written in a book by Richard Susskind like 10 or 15 years ago. Okay, so a well-known author on the evolution of the professions and things like that. So having said that, one of the things that we need to take care is, well, how the business model of a lawyer, how the lawyer really is going to be charging for his services in the upcoming years, and if that's or if we see a change in that business model, we might have much more space to understand productivity or measure productivity in a proper way, as other business do. And there are good examples. Actually, we have some panelists here that know about that because they have implemented that. And actually, those good examples are basically a change in the perspective on how the value proposition is handled or offered to the final client, and that's in some cases not billable hour, but rather a fixed fee or an alternative fee arrangement or any kind of different structures. So I believe there is a whole array of issues to be covered on productivity related to the kind of business model and how we basically monetize the profession of the lawyer itself.
Thanks, Andrés. Karina, any thoughts?
Yes, I would like to add to this, to Andrés, that lawyers have to change their mindset in terms of productivity. Productivity is not only how they charge the fees. For me, it's where they look for the market and how much work they obtain from the market. The market is there. The market is there. If 95% of Americans are not accessing basic services, basic legal services, there are other ways to be productive in terms of increasing the amount of customers you're going to obtain from the market. That's the only thing I wanted to add, because there are two different productivities: the work productivity and the economic productivity, or the financial productivity.
Thank you for that. Value-based pricing, I think it's I would stay forever talking about that. It really dawned on me when I was practicing law. I saved a client like $20,000 in a call for 5 minutes, and I really thought, like, I can't charge anything for this because I was charging by the hour. So value-based pricing, I think it's not only necessary, it's also something that lawyers can tap into to increase fees by far. So, and this, Carolina, what do you think about? You're a lawyer. You're still practicing law as opposed to any other of us, and you are a partner in a new law firm, like a new law firm. So I would love your take on that, and maybe peg that into another question on terms of training for lawyers in an AI world, and in a world we will productize legal work more and more.
Sure. Actually, from the new law point of view, I agree with everything you said. We don't charge per hour. We charge a fixed fee to all of our clients, and that actually make us, we have the need to be more efficient and productive, because otherwise the business wouldn't be feasible. And aside from that, we have experienced that there's an increased demand for efficiency from our client side. Like, clients are no longer happy with billable hours. Clients actually want results and not to pay for us to be more inefficient. And the only way for us to be able to adopt this business model is to actually introduce technology on a daily basis. And this has taken us a while because we have to begin with the people, because the change begins with our people, with all of our lawyers and our staff. And since our lawyers, as Karina said, we are late adopters of technology, and we had to work really hard on changing their mindset. On now you have to be now we are selling results, so it doesn't pay to take longer writing an email or take longer to reading a document. We need to be more efficient, and we had to introduce like agile procedures into our daily basis. We had to introduce technology, but the hardest part was to actually change lawyers' mindset. I think it took us a while, but we are already there. And this has also not only increases our productivity, our client satisfaction, but it also has increased our position in the market. It's an added value against the rest of the lawyers that haven't adopted technology into their daily basis. So, and I think eventually, and not in the future, like in the immediate future, clients are gonna be more sophisticated and are gonna start to demand results and not fees over taking longer. So I think that this is really, really, really important. It's not for the far future, but for right now.
And what do you see? I want to stay on that subject in terms of productivity and productizing legal work, right? So you need to start, like I always say, like downloading your processes in your brain and creating a product so that you can sell it to a lot of people. It's like services going into product and then selling it as software as a service or a mix, right? Um, so on that subject, we have to start talking about AI and generative AI and beyond all the hype which is there. And I think we will see a lot of apps and a lot of startups and a lot of companies that doesn't have an edge vis-a-vis any other than. But now we have AI as a service, right? Well, now we have the ability to create legal products faster, cheaper, and more accurate. This creates a lot of other things like prompt engineering creates the need to supervise AI. There's a lot of things, and we will tap into those later. But how do you change your mind, or how do you change the mindsets? And probably you're more advanced in that sense with your employees that with your partners than other firms. How do you change that mindset, and how do you train people and convince them on a lifelong learning path, which is impossible
Well,
to escape now?
yeah, we started with the basics. We started to having them understand that this this changes, because human beings, we are not used, or usually we like to stay where we are comfortable. That these changes at the beginning were going to be hard, but eventually they were on their benefit, on for everyone's benefit, not only for our clients. Because if we start having a thinking towards how to be more agile, more productive using technology, following, like project managers following a path and a process, their workload was going to be easier. They're gonna finish faster. There's no need to stay, like in big law firms, until 2 in the morning working. That you could charge more, be more efficient, and go home at 5 and be with your family. So once they understood that this was for their benefit, then everyone was happy to be on board, and then it took a lot of repetition and discipline to get it done. And once people started doing it for a while, now it's just natural. Now everyone is used to. We don't even have secretaries, for example. We don't have administrative staff. Everything is done by a software. And now that everyone knows how to use it, everyone is actually happier. It's a better lifestyle. It's for everyone, and this translated to our service, to how our clients see us. So it's a win-win for everyone. But it's
Karina,
not an easy path.
so just to another question there, and I want to move on, but I guess your attrition rates in terms of your lawyers leaving, young lawyers staying for a very short period of time and leaving very soon after that. Whenever I talk to lawyers and partners in law firms, it's a really real concern that young lawyers don't stay in the law firms anymore. So how did that affect like young people being in somewhere that is agile, that it's cutting edge, and doing things that they want to be able to do anywhere else? So how did that play out?
Well, we have actually experienced a high demand of young lawyers sending us their CVs and people asking to work with us, because we also have a presence, obviously, because of the concept of our law firm in Instagram or TikTok, and so young lawyers are seeing like, how does this work? This is how I want to be a lawyer, and that works great for us because we can start having new talent and actually retain them, because they think this is like young people says, okay, I'm a lawyer and this is how we love to practice law. It's different of how I thought it should be. So for us, it has been a great advantage for retaining talent and
That's
gaining new talent.
it seems I would love to work there. I will send you my resume after that.
Of course, you're welcome.
So we were talking about, you mentioned your half secretary work, and you were doing that with software. So I want to take that idea and move over to Pablo and ask him, what's the role you see in AI, the risk of replacing lawyers? I think we will have our opinion here. So I think we will delve in this question a lot. But how do you see AI playing out here in terms of replacing lawyers? Not which is the position of lawyers in that sense?
Let me give you some insights, and I will base in my experience with just 2 weeks ago, we launched a new project, and the gist of that project was an AI model, an LLM model. And during the presentation, the whole team was there, many lawyers, and just going into the Q&A session, the first question that appeared was, are we all going to to be replaced by ChatGPT? And their faces were so strange. And in fact, the answer to that question is that routine activities with low or not at all added value will be replaced. It's a fact. But it's also true that lawyers will be essential for complex activity as a strategic decision making or representing a complex matter. AI, in fact, could help lawyers replacing all those activities, commodity activities, and allowing them to focus on the interesting part of the legal work. And even though there are some risks, and there are of some functions being replaced by AI, there are a lot of opportunities, new opportunities. And as you mentioned, new opportunities means new roles as prompting engineer, for example, that for new lawyer is key. It is key because it's a world of new opportunities. And finally, AI is a complement, it's not replacing lawyers. And we need to be on top of AI just to receive all the benefits that AI could give us.
Awesome, Pablo. Thank you. I think in this regard, I really think LM models and Chat GPT or Bard or any other, actually, I think it will have a big impact. And I've already seen people saying, I'm drafting letters or telegrams or whatever by ChatGPT, and I avoid asking the lawyer. So I want to ask Karina, what's your take on this? Because I think on the B2B side, on B2C side, I think that opportunity is presented um, more clearly. Just to add to that view of Pablo more into a B2B perspective, how do you see people using AI replacing lawyers or starting off by asking those questions?
Well, thank you. Actually, Legalify is partnering with a big company in Mexico to implement quickly the AI solutions for common people, where people can construct letters, contracts actually alone, and consult with a lawyer the specifics, so they don't lose time and they can advance quickly and not spend so much money. But my main concern regarding artificial intelligence is not the preparation of the lawyers today, but the preparations of the future lawyers, the children that are at school. For me, it is very, very important when you talk about ongoing training, for example, to think about the education the future lawyers are going to have regarding artificial intelligence. And for that aspect, and in general, artificial intelligence for every aspect of our lives, we should consider incrementing the IQ of our children, the education they will receive to be able to do or keep on doing jobs as today, but with the preparation or the higher IQ. Why I say that? Because probably we are not the lawyers are not going to be replaced by artificial intelligence. Lawyers are going to change the way they work, and they're going to use artificial intelligence. But if our children are not prepared in terms of education and IQ and the potential of the IQ they have, they're going to have big problems to compete with artificial intelligence. And that's my main concern in the future. Today, lawyers have to do with what they have. It's like the industrial revolution. When we had the industrial revolution, we had to adapt ourselves, and some people were left out because they couldn't adapt. But we have to make sure that our children adapt to these issues in the future, our future lawyers. Our children are going to be lawyers, probably, and they will have to adapt themselves to this type of education, to be able to use well the artificial intelligence, to be able to think in a different way, and to be able to apply this education to their daily work.
Okay, thanks for that insight. And I think, and I will move on to another question, but maybe ask you something, Carolina, on that sense. But on a personal note, I think we need to start seeing what the same guy that is possibilitating Carolina to join in from the mountaintops in Panama, he's working on joining us with the cloud directly. So uh, my bet, my money's on that. Not money, actually. I hope I would love to, but um, let's trust Elon and Neuralink to help us in that sense.
Exactly.
Carolina,
I just wanted to add that I recently heard a phrase that actually stick with me, and it followed what Karina just mentioned, that says that AI is not going to steal your job, but somebody who knows how to use it will. So it's important for kids to be prepared, and for us that are still in the market to be prepared and have continued education, because it's not going to be AI, because AI is going to replace repetitive jobs and daily things that that us as humans can do. But people who doesn't adapt and doesn't continue learning and growing with technology are going to be left behind, and are going to be replaced by somebody who do knows how to use it. So I think that's very important.
and yes, thank you that thank you for that. That phrase, and if we're citing phrases, I will cite another one. Um, People tend to underestimate, to overestimate change for the following 2 years, and underestimate it for the following 10. That was Bill Gates saying that, and I think we're all seeing a lot of hype. But then when you go to the reality, I was talking to the legal director of a very large bank, and she told me, people talk about AI, but we are not allowed to Google something, or we are not allowed to enter LinkedIn, or so. The gap and the space, or the gulf between, or the chasm between reality, the amount of things technology can do and where we are at now, we're a long way from that. And I think you see that in governmental services. Most uh, most importantly, we can talk about AI, and we are here in the Legal Tech Hub, so we're going to talk about technology. But actually, I have right next to me corporate books, physical corporate books, where we need to sign shareholders meetings, or board of directors minutes. So the real true change, in my view, and let me before placing. Sorry if I have advanced my opinion here, Carolina, but I think if we don't see real change in terms of tech on the government side, on the courts, the amount of technology we can use to better the services for our clients will always be limited. We always will need. We can automate shareholders minute generations every time we want, and it's super easy right nowadays. We still need to print that into Word and copy it into a corporate physical book, right? So what do you see the Latam, and maybe Latam is excited, but especially in your country, how do you see it playing out, and how aware lawyers are governments are of this need?
I think that's actually a problem that we're living right now. I'm going to use Panama as an example because that's what I'm living right now. We have seen in Panama, for example, there have been advances in digital infrastructure from the government and the court side. I mean, it's in the beginning, but it's an advance. But actually, I think we're going to have to invest in public and private partnerships to actually help the government in training and in, for example, we do it right now, like go to the give training to judges and to people and to public workers so they can know what the trends are right now in more advanced countries, and we need to get involved with regulations so we can help regulations go forward with this. And for example, I'm going to give you an example. What you just mentioned, we can do everything online, but then right now in Panama we're working towards it. The electronic signature. Right now it's possible, but the government is the only one who can actually issue a qualified signature. And right now the new regulation is coming forward right now as we speak, so that private entities can also certify e-signatures. So that's an improvement, but we are working slowly, but we need to get there. And it's absolutely right. If the government doesn't put the work, we're gonna be working on our side, and it's not gonna be efficient. So it's also a push from the private sector to the government, so we can help and make it happen. And eventually we'll get there.
I think so. Pablo, any thoughts on this?
No, I was just close to say that connected with the Karina, that the self learning it's key, because now we have knowledge just for free everywhere, and it's right at our fingertips everywhere. So it's the skill of self learning is key to the development to build my own person. It's like that. And just connected with the other question is that the only way to obtain open justice is with governments promoting funds, equal funds for everywhere, and clear regulations. Of course, protecting data privacy policies with data privacy policies.
On data privacy is such an important thing, and in terms of an AI world and LLMs, and we are seeing a bit of a clash of the titans nowadays. Big companies, big media companies going after AI for infringement of intellectual property rights. That's major things that's going on right now. So we are going to see Google fight it out with huge companies and OpenAI as well. But it does brush, and I think we need to talk about ethics here, because lawyers, although not all lawyer work is ethical, like we are in the, there are many things that don't touch ethics, but we do have a contact with ethical work and with ethical training while we perform our services and while we study in university. And Andrés, what do you see, and maybe then open up for anyone else, in terms of ethics concerns, and which ethics concerns should we worry about in terms of AI?
Okay, well, I will address your question, but let me take some of the comments before that I believe are really valuable. First, I believe that a good takeaway of this conversation is we need to prepare ourselves, right? So we need to train ourselves. We need to be open to acquire new knowledge and understand better how those technologies, being AI in its different formats or any other technology, can help us to do or work better. And that's my main goal from my manifesto in a certain way, right? My manifest is based on that. So I work every day on on enabling people, and hopefully enabling people to use better technology to do their jobs in a better way. And connected with that, certainly it's this hype of AI. I've been asked to talk about it since a while, and I always try to bring to the table something that happened, I would say, a couple of months ago, when I went to a conference of the ABI, of the International Bar Association, in Cartagena de Indias in Colombia, and I was invited to talk about this. Right, so in a panel we were talking about generative AI, and we did share with different panelists about the topic, and the generative AI is more than the technology itself, and the different elements, or I would say, in a certain way, competences that ask us, or skills that ask us to get to maximize the use of those kind of technologies. More than that is certainly how we use that technology in our benefit, and which is the kind of data we use to build those tools. And that's related also with preparation, with training, with databases analysis, and Pablo knows a lot about it, more if they were working in the LAMP software, databases and things like that. And the reason of that is that that's directly linked to the ethical question. Because the main problem, and I was talking about this with my wife last night, actually, because she asked me to help doing a specific job, and I took GTP4 and I did it in 1 sec. And basically I told her, look, this is great. It's amazing. We can do things that we haven't even thought about it in seconds. Therefore, our jobs changed. The way how we work changed from the day OpenAI was open, okay, and ChatGPT was published. The issue is, where is the human side of this, right? Where is the human touch? Where is the criteria? And that brings us to the ethical question of what is, or how we are handling one of the main issues in the use of these generative AI models, or LLM models, which is the famous hallucination dilemma, right? The hallucination dilemma is a big issue, because if we are not able to understand the underlying rationality of the machine, if we are not able to understand how the dots were connected, as Steve Jobs would say, right? Or if we are not able to understand which is the source of knowledge in which was the opinion, the outcome based, we are in serious troubles. Because otherwise, we are not going to be able to judge and to understand if a specific outcome is the correct one, it's real, it's not void, and certainly it's not a product of a malpractice process, right, or bad faith. So I believe that's the main issue today to solve, to understand better how we can manage to understand the way how a specific outcome is given to us. We shouldn't take too much care today about we're going to be override by AI minds or things like that. The issue today is how we can assure that these tools get the proper information to produce the outcome that we need to have. And there, the human mind won't be replaced by anything or anybody. And that's I believe the main issue today from an ethical perspective, right? How to use the technology, and how to face the hallucination dilemma.
Thanks. On a personal note, I will give my take on this as well, but I want to like take a step back in terms of process. And it's, of course, there are ethical concerns on how do we use the technology and how it was prepared and how we prepare it. But there's an ethical mandate, and I think I was thinking about your example with your wife. Um, if 5 months from now she asks you the same thing and you start doing it without ChatGPT, and she's paying you for that, well, you're not really fulfilling your duties as a provider, in terms of you're not using the best technology to provide that service. So um, I always say, and I like the ABA model rule on duty of technological competence. It's an ethical mandate to use the best technology possible to provide our services as lawyers. Um, and I tend to compare us with doctors. Um, and if a doctor comes to you and wants to perform a surgery and uses tools, I don't mean from the last century, but 10 years old, vis-a-vis someone who uses the technology that is the best technology to provide this job, it's not a question whether one is ethical, one's ethical is ethical in the way they provide the services and which one is not. I think it's not a choice for us, especially not uh, for those that provide services to individuals, but on all regards, it's not a choice. It's a duty to be technologically competent and to use the best technology out there to provide the services for our clients. And so I want to open this last question for everybody. We are here for the Legal Tech Hub Day, and there are themes here, and the theme of this year is the day after AI. So, and we know there's no like one day after AI. Maybe it's already happened, in terms of we're now living on those 1,000 days, right? After OpenAI opened their apps and their plugins, and everybody can work with them. So whoever wants to start, I want to open this discussion, because I think this is something so important. What does it mean for you to talk about the day of after AI in terms of ecosystem evolution? And what about the next 1,000 days?
Ezequiel, if, let me start with this. I think that AI is unstoppable, and it's a fact that we need to be on top of this. And just to give you an analogy, and it's my own thought, it's the Centaurus is in the Greek reference. It's half human and half horse. And I think that in the AI era, we are half machine. We are going to be half machine and half human. But we are there is the whole is important, because the whole is better than one half, and we need to be on top of that to get all the opportunities that AI offer to us. We need not to. We are no need to be afraid. We need to get on top of our responsibility to get the best of the AI. And self-learning, as Andrés mentioned, is key. Is key. We need to be on top of our. It's our responsibility to get to learn every day, to introduce new skills, as Karina mentioned too. That's my so. And sorry about the reference or the analogy,
No,
but it's a
anyone
clear.
brave enough to go after the citation of mythology, because you have to go after that. Who wants to give your final view?
I will go. I will go with another one, which is I will cite Bill Gates again, actually. So to be at least at a similar level, but just bring some thoughts Gates basically shared in his Bill Gates notes, right? The blog he has.
Oh, that's super recommended to everybody. Yeah,
It's great. I mean, I'm subscribed to it, and it's great. I mean, there are some topics that are interesting for us, other merely, but it doesn't matter anyway. The issue is that I I was reading one of the blogs a couple of months ago, and he was sharing his perspective of what was OpenAI for the world in a certain way, or generative AI in a certain way, and he explained which was the reaction he had when he was visited at the board of Microsoft by the OpenAI guys, asking for basically the invitation to invest and acquire a part of them, and he was really like in a certain way struggling to say, look, I mean, I don't believe AI can be as good as it should be, but basically we are really early, and the capabilities of this technology are really limited still. And you're talking about someone who built Microsoft and who was sitting in the board of Microsoft, and basically the guys of Open, he made a question to them, and or more than a question, a requirement to them, and said, look, if you are able to make this intelligence to pass through the process of the medical exam, I mean, is the most difficult exam for professionals in the US, right? With an X percentage of or ratio of accuracy, then I will really be convinced about the potential of this technology. And he said, okay, go to your home and work on that. He was expecting these guys to come back, I don't know, 1 year after that, right? So with some kind of solution and with a lower rate of accuracy. The issue is that they came up with a solution in 1 week. And the level of accuracy was 98%. Therefore, better than any even student in the last decade or more than that decade doing or providing that exam. The same happened with the case text study and the bar exam afterwards, right?
Let's not talk about that. We are going to lose our job.
But we are not talking about that. But that's the case with the doctors, you know. So at the end, the final conclusion of these notes was this following: was, look, there was a game changer event in my life, that's Gates' life, right? In my life, when I met the guy who developed Windows. So it was a T0 in my life in a certain way, because it was a mind changer and a game changer in the landscape of how you interact with machines. And there is a second. I'm being a witness of a second event. That's OpenAI. And OpenAI is the second event. That's the reason why Microsoft invested such amount of money and acquired even the control of that company, right? It's another level of technology. Therefore, I mean, we weren't probably working too much. I was alive, but not working too much in the 80s when those came up, right? But we are now in the middle of our probably careers when OpenAI comes up, and we have the opportunity to be part of that story and to be part of that journey, and that's the invitation I would like to give in this conversation, at least.
Thank you, Andrés. Karina, few thoughts.
Well, it is a challenging time. It is a challenging time. You have to be smart. You have to know what to do to get trained to be able to be up to the level of the artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is going to be evolving itself more quickly, like intensely all the time. So if you don't do your homework, as I say to my children, artificial intelligence is going to win eventually. So human beings, as I said before, have to prepare themselves since they are children. This is not an option for us, for example. That's why ongoing training. Ongoing training is the clue for us. But for the be smart with our children. Train them to think in these terms, because this is like industrial revolution, as I said before. So for me, it's challenging. It's not boring. I'm a person that likes challenges. I always look for challenges. I am 53 years old, and I think I'm going to be learning about AI when I'm 80. So for me, it's a very important time of our world. We have a very good opportunity here to make a better world using artificial intelligence for lawyers, doctors, all the careers. And so we have to train ourselves. We have to learn, and we have to learn from the artificial intelligence too.
Karina, thank you, Karina.
I think we are already definitely past the experimentation phase of AI, and we are right now witnessing a time of assessing the effectiveness and the applications of AI in our ecosystem. And in the next 1,000 days, where we're gonna experience, it's a time of it's gonna raise a lot of new opportunities and also challenges. That's gonna require collaboration from all of us in our ecosystem, from lawyers, software developers, and everyone involved, so we can actually harness all of the potential of AI in the legal industry. and and we need to stop being the profession that are late adopters. We're going to have to get on board and technology changes really, really quick, and we as lawyers are going to have to keep up with it so we don't stay behind. And so it's, as all of you mentioned, it's a continuous education and never stop. Every day something new is going to happen, and we need to keep up with it.
Thank you, Karina. Thank you, Karina, Andrés, Pablo. Thank you so much for all your views. On my take on those 1,000 days, I know it was supposed to be a curse, but may we live in interesting times. These are definitely interesting times. And as Peter Diamandis says, don't blink. The future is awesome. And we are not going to, and we are living through an amazing, challenging but beautiful time where we are just on the verge of knowing how as humans where we can reach and where we can go. Thank you so much for all of you. This was an amazing panel. And thank you, Global Legal Tech Hub. I hope you're having a great day. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.